It's not as complicated as people make it.
So today we're going to talk about how to buy a house in Cabo as a foreigner. Michael is going to give us a bit of a step-by-step guide.
I would first start by saying there was a time when foreigners were prevented from buying homes in what's called the restricted zone. And the restricted zone is basically anything you'd want to buy. It's 50 miles from the coast and also the border. And of course, we're ocean front here, so as a foreigner, you would have to buy the home inside of a trust. And the trust is very simple. In fact, many high net worth people already own homes in family trust, so they're very familiar with that and the process.
And in Spanish, this is a Fideicomiso, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's very hard for foreigners to say, so you know, the trust is much easier to say. But so it's not restrictive in any way, and so people have the rights, the same rights that they do as ownership in the U.S. There's evidence by those 250 homes in this neighborhood that are owned just like that. It's a very common practice.
How can a homeowner feel secure that their money is safe and it's not like getting lost in Mexico?
That's true. Well, let's start with all of our transactions are done inside of escrow. Escrow is a third party. It's a U.S. third party in Austin that holds all the money in escrow, so their money is secure and safe all through the transaction. And then once the home closes and title passes, then they receive clear title for the money. So technically, the money really is never in Mexico. The buyer and seller oftentimes are both foreigners, and the money resides in Austin, Texas. So, and it's insured inside of the escrow company. So it's very reflective of how we do business in the U.S. And that gives people comfort, you know, and so the money doesn't disappear. It doesn't, although some proceeds do go to the Mexican government, there is a transfer tax. There's a 2% tax that goes to the municipality. So people have to budget for that when they buy the home, but they have about 3% in closing costs above and beyond the price of the home.
Okay, and how does one go about like finding these escrow companies or one that is trustworthy?
Well, they don't have to. We do all that. I mean, that's the greatest part about doing business with us. I've been here 12 years. I've done, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of transactions, and we do all that for them. So there's nothing that they have to do. All they have to do is come to Cabo, find a home of their dreams. We will do all the rest. It's a very, very seamless process. It's, like I said, we do it routinely all day, every day. So they have the comfort of knowing that we have the experience to do this transaction inside of Mexico in a foreign country.
Okay, so let's say that we find a house that somebody likes and they're ready to buy. What is the first step?
Well, you know, step one is they go through the process of looking at all the different homes. And once they find and identify the home that they want, then we put in an offer. And again, the process is very similar to how they buy and sell homes in the U.S. So step one, we will draft the offer. We do all the paperwork. We present the offer to the seller. Once we have a fully executed agreement is when they have to put money in the escrow account. So that's step one in the process, is to get it under contract. Okay. And then step two is once we have that, then we'll determine how they want to take title. And that can be a couple of different ways, either a U.S. LLC, or they can take it in their own personal name. And that is all set up inside the trust. It takes a little time. And in the U.S., you know, if you have a mortgage, you know, it normally takes, you know, maybe a couple weeks to close. If you're paying cash, you can close in days. That's different here because the Mexican bank that creates the trust and transfer the beneficiary rights from the seller to the buyer, it takes a long time. Approximately 90 days from the time that you purchase the home is how long it will take to set up the trust, get to the closing, and finally get occupancy. Okay. And we do typical, we do inspections, you know, so when they purchase a home, there's a due diligence period, which gives them the option to do their due diligence, to do the inspections, to talk to an attorney, to set up the trust. All those things are done during the due diligence period. And once we move outside of that, then there's a big non-refundable deposit that is put in escrow awaiting closing. And closing's about 90 days later, and then we hand them the keys and they start having fun, because that's really what it's all about.
Yes.
Coming to Mexico, coming
And
to Cabo,
living
living here. We're all lucky because we get to do it every day. How we
Just
do.
out of curiosity, do most people that are looking for houses, do they live here all year, or is it more a vacation?
No, this is a resort vacation lifestyle. I would say that people on average, the stay is getting longer. When I first moved here 12 years ago, the average stay, we did a study, and the average stay was 75 days a year. So
Okay.
they were buying these homes to use them as vacation
Couple
homes.
months.
But everything has kind of changed, and,
Yeah.
and it's interestingly enough, we always talk about pre-COVID and post-COVID. Since COVID, number one, the demand for houses here and in all the greatest places in the world have skyrocketed. But the time that people spend in their vacation home has
Longer
also
each
gone
time.
way up. So we're seeing people, there are more people living here full time, but not many. Out of 250 homes in the neighborhood, I think, including myself and my wife, we're full-time residents here. I think there may be 5 other people. So you can see it's a very, very small percentage of people that live here full-time. So, but like I said earlier, people are staying longer, and I think this year we saw a lot of people come as early as Thanksgiving, which is an American holiday, and just recently leave, and we're nearly June 1st, so it's Memorial Day weekend, and people are just now starting to depart because it's getting warmer here, and these people that own these homes own multiple houses, and they're all in great places with great climates, and so there's perhaps a better place to be on June 1st. The mountains, many people have a home in the Rockies or the mountains or Southern California where perhaps it's the best weather, so they're chasing the weather.
Basically chasing weather throughout the year.
They have that luxury.
Okay. And throughout this whole process, you guys obviously help and guide everyone in how to
Every
do
single
these.
day.
Okay.
In fact, I would say, it's funny because we just talked about that the process takes about 90 days, and then they probably look for a home, who knows for how long, looking and finding the right home. But I would say a lot of the service that we provide is actually after the closing. And we kind of just play the role of ambassador, and we want people to love it like we do. So I put a lot of time and effort into, once they're here, what do I do? What's important? So that's why we created Lifestyle in Cabo, was to show people what's next. After you're here, you
Now
want to
what?
have all the great activities, the great restaurants, surfing, fishing, golfing, yachting. We kind of adopt them, and we really do show them and their family how to have fun. And that's really kind of my favorite part of the job.
Yeah, Lifestyle in Cabo is a great resource
It is.
For what to do once you're here.
Yes.
And then I'm sure you guys become friends and everything.
We do. That's exactly right. Because we live here in the neighborhood, we're neighbors, and so we see a lot of our clients, routinely, either at the gym or at the beach club or around campus, and that's
It's a
really my
real-
favorite
real
part of the job
community.
is the people. Yeah, it's a real community, and I would say, to your point, that's kind of what makes Villas del Mar and Espiritu the special place that it is a community of like-minded people that are looking. It's really interesting because there's usually an event in their life that promotes this, purchase, this change. The kids have gone off to college, or they've just sold their business, and they generally have more time. And more money if they've sold their business. They're kind of looking for the next stage in their life, and by coming here and enjoying all that Cabo has to offer and meeting people like themselves that have done, because it takes a special kind of person to buy a home outside of their home country, okay?
Yeah.
There's some inherent risk to it, or at least perceived inherent risk. So it takes an adventurous person to do that. So these are like-minded people that have similar histories, they've been successful, and they're looking to meet new people and take the next
And they
step
can
in their life.
relate to each other.
Absolutely. So it's a real interesting brain trust here, and it's kind of like a bubble of people. There's 260 some odd homes here, and they've all done something special in their life. And so they have a lot in common, and not always wherever they're coming from do they have that same group of people that are baked in, that are neighbors. years. And so it's a very social thing. The beach club is a place for people to gather. Pickleball has gone crazy. Now they're all playing pickleball together, and that's really brought the community together. It's always about people. You know, we can talk about how great the weather is, how great the architecture, the real estate, but it's always about people. It's always about, you know, connecting on that emotional level. And I think that that's what is really the heart and soul of Villas del Mar and Espiritu, is the community.
I think that's comforting. Like for someone who's changing residency country to country, to know that you're coming somewhere where you will feel
right at home,
taken in by the community. I guess that makes the risk a little bit less.
Yes, it makes it worth it. And we encourage you to go to Lifestyle in Cabo and follow all of our social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn.
YouTube.
We all have our YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's my favorite. Definitely go to Lifestyle in Cabo on YouTube. That's my favorite resource. And you know, we put a lot of effort into it, so we hope people find it interesting and love it.
Make sure to follow. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for helping us on how to buy a house in Cabo.
Perfect. Great.